Mandy, I see you. What, Mandy? Where have you been? Welcome on in. I see you. Are you sticking around? Let me post it to my story. Thank you for the repost. I see you. Hear the rhythm when the doctor come through. Korean roots and they know what to do. Professor the building educator true. Black health is a vision and they coming for you. Dr. Johnson, raise it up, raise it up. Knowledge in his hands and he ain't give it up. The doctor is here, let the rhythm come through. The people are calling and they coming for you. From the others to the class to the ladies way. Black health in his bloodline, Carrigan soul. Oh, black health in his bloodline, Carrigan soul. The doctor in the building and he coming in for Dr. Johnson. Rhythm in the room, black excellence living on the culture in bloom. Raise it up, raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. The people. Miss Crystal, I see you. Welcome on in. 5-star, I see you. Welcome on in. Y'all, I just hit the live button. I'm just trying to set my stuff up. Did I post it to my story? I don't want to keep posting it again. Did I post it to my story? You guys, welcome on in. Miss Crystal, I see you with the repost. Aaron, I see you. Welcome on in. Yes, I've been good. Mandy, thank you so much for asking. I hope you've been doing well as well. And how is your school program going? Your social work program, how is that going? Yeah, let me tell you something. See, when you go live, y'all do it for me. The reposting and the sharing, I can't do it. Let me set myself up. As you guys know, once we get to 6K likes, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. We're at 430, 400 and something. Come on, y'all get me there. We gotta beat this algorithm. So once we get to 6K likes, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. You guys know what it is. Miss Pretty Rockstar, I see you. Welcome on in. This is the first time I'm seeing your name, so welcome to Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. I appreciate you being here. If you guys are new here, drop new here so I can introduce myself. Drop new here. But in the meantime, we're going to listen to some tunes that my friends have made me while we get to 6K likes. Miss Crystal, I see you with the repost. Miss Crystal, are you back to doing lives? I don't know. Like, I want to, I was thinking about you the other day, Crystal, and I don't know if you need me to help you kickstart something more, going live more, but we need more of your, I want to hear more of your mental health yaps. Because you be yapping about some good stuff. And don't take the yapping as no diss. It's TikTok is made for yappers. But I want to see you more on live, Crystal. You don't have a schedule. You do need help. We're going to figure something out. We're going to talk after this. One day this week, we're going to talk after this. Let's get you where you need to be. Something you could use. I see you. Eve Rose. Is Eve Rose here? Coach Jen, I see you. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. As we hit 6K likes, we're going to go ahead and get started on our trending topic in healthcare. After our trending topic in healthcare, we're going to get into our interviewed guests. And then we're going to wrap it up with some professor tips. Let's listen to my songs. You guys know, we know the drill. We're reposting, we're liking the live, 6K likes, and we'll get into our trending topic in healthcare. Today's trending topic in healthcare, we've all heard about it. Today's trending topic in healthcare, we've all been hearing about it. Okay? Coach Jen, I see you. Reposting the live, I see you. Miss Crystal, I see you. Step in the room, it's time to lean in. A great community of educators. Where's Mr. Aaron? Aaron, can we pin that again for me, Aaron? Where's Aaron? Let me see. Just know that you belong. Oh, perfect. Here we go. Okay, you see my moderators tapping in. Okay. Hey, bingo, Aaron. Aaron, bingo, you got it. That's what we're going to be talking about briefly. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? Miss Pretty, I see you sharing the live. I appreciate you. Something you can use. I see you. Eve Rose, I see you. Coach Jen, I see you. Crystal, I see you.
Welcome to Chapter 1.
Yo, can we shout out to something we could use in the chat? Something you could use, maybe that song specifically. Y'all know I have 3 songs in rotation. Shout out to something you could use. Every time I hear these songs, it's just I love them all over again. So shout out to something you could use in the chat who made me one of my theme songs for my office hours with Dr. Johnson. Now we have 6K likes. Damn, you, Lady Red, I see you. Welcome on in. Y'all didn't even, let's jump right into it. Right now the room is small. We good. Y'all know I get nervous when them numbers start to come in. I get nervous. So moderators, can we just drop it real quick? FDA. Aren't we tired of hearing about the FDA? Moderator, I see you, moderators. FDA. Aren't we tired about hearing about the FDA? My gosh. So this is fresh off the grease. This article was just published yesterday. Today is the 21st. Yesterday was the 20th, okay? The FDA still focused on Taylor Farms lettuce as Cyclospora source despite the retracted test. Miss Mika, welcome on in. You got here just in time for the trending topic in healthcare. We gonna get into the lettuce. Lady Red, are you in Georgia or are you in like the North Carolina area? I have some coworkers who are up in the Georgia area and the North Carolina area, and they are on tornado watch. I heard that. Thank you so much for stopping by. You ain't have to be. You in New Jersey, Jersey too. Y'all didn't have to be here, but no. But y'all probably snuggled up in bed. Y'all don't have nothing else to do, just vibing. Y'all stayed home from work and school today? Damn, it's hitting that bad? You guys, we got an agenda. Y'all throwing me off. The ADD will kick in. The FDA still focused on Taylor Farms lettuce. We're all scared. Crystal, you in the car on the way home or on the way to work? I hope you on the way from work and going home and get out them people job. Lady Red, I see you liking the live. So the FDA, y'all not going to let the ADD kick in. I got to focus. So Cyclospora, we all know what that is. Have we been hearing about the lettuce? Can y'all drop some lettuce in the chat? If you guys been hearing about the lettuce issue, drop some lettuce in the chat because I'm scared to eat lettuce now. I don't want no virus. Even though they joking around talking about you get the virus, you're going to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds easy. I don't want that. I like my chicken and my mashed potatoes and rice and peas and brown stew chicken. I want to eat. If you know me, I want to eat. Dr. Michelle, I see you. Eve Rose, I see you with the lettuce. Okay, so let's continue with the trending topic in healthcare. So, the source of the Cyclospora illness outbreak remains unknown. Why all of a sudden it remains unknown? You see what happens when our government doesn't have the proper funding? You see what happens when our government is not being, I'm just trying to choose my words wisely because you always got to approach things, not in a biased way. Choosing the right president is key. Choosing the right president is key because look what we look at all this back and forth we going through with the CDC. Look at all this back and forth we're going through with the FDA. Now this week the FDA is retracting from their statements from the Taylor Farms lettuce. That they said Taco Bell was possibly the culprit. I stopped eating Taco Bell for the past couple weeks. Been scared, afraid. Dr. Henry, very disturbing. Very disturbing. This is what happens when we don't, so you see when people say, oh, I don't want to vote. Oh, I don't care. Oh, whatever happens, happens. This is why, I don't want to make it political, but this is why it's important to go out there and exercise your vote. This is actually a good, real quick break. Midterm elections are coming up in certain states, cities, areas, right? Ash, I see you. Welcome on in. Midterm elections are just as important as the general elections, okay? We are voting for our judges. We are voting for the commissioners. We are voting for the state representatives, and we are voting for the governors. You guys, this is just as important as the general election as voting for a president and a vice president, okay? With that being said, bringing it back to this article, do you guys see why it's important who we vote for and who's in the administration and what type of administration we have? We wouldn't be having this back and forth with the FDA. We wouldn't be having this back and forth with the CDC. Look who's running the excuse me, not the CDC, because they just appointed that black lady, that black surgeon lady. Not the CDC. Excuse me, I meant look who's running the HHS. Mr. Kennedy. Come on. Where's your public health background? Where's your medical background? So once again, you guys, when you hear somebody say, oh, I'm not interested in voting, oh, I don't want to vote, look at what we're going through now. Look at what we are going through now, okay? The Cyclospora illness outbreak remains unknown. Now all of a sudden it remains unknown. You guys, the chat is going, so I can't keep up with the chat. You guys, I'm in a lot of different places, but I appreciate you guys keep dropping your comments in the chat. Let TikTok know you guys are listening and we're engaging. So after the FDA announced this past weekend that a previous test identifying the parasite in a sample of lettuce from Taylor Farms was not actually contaminated by Cyclospora, why all of a sudden they're retracting the test results? The agency review, you guys, I'm pulling from real news, real facts, a real article. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm reading on multiple screens here. Okay, you guys, it's always real news, real facts, real information. This is the stuff that we should be talking about. Ms. Mika, I see you. I appreciate you. On social media, the FDA clarified that this false positive lab sample does not change the basis for FDA's ongoing outbreak investigation or the overwhelming epidemiological, if y'all can spell it in the chat, drop epidemiological data supporting the current voluntary recall by Taylor Farms. Fangirl, I see you. Ms. Mika, I see you. Dr. Henry, I see you. We talking about the lettuce outbreak. We talking about the back and forth with the FDA and the CDC. The back and forth. We already got back and forth with these jobs. We already got back and forth with these bills. Now we got back and forth with the food that we could eat. If you're tired of the back and forth, just drop back and forth in the chat. Drop back and forth in the chat if you're just tired of this back and forth. I see why some of us is just tired and just done. I see why some of us don't even want to show up. Do you see why whenever I come in contact with somebody, I tell y'all, continue to show up, continue to be great. That phrase just may sound light, but it touches on so many different things. You got to continue to show up and continue to be great when our life is being back and forth and pulled in so many different directions. The food we eat, the administration, the job's not hiring us, the money is low, rent due, bills is due. I did not plan to take this direction today, but I see y'all. I see what y'all did in the chat. I see you. The FDA's recommendation is still not to eat iceberg lettuce. How you like how they've identified specifically what lettuce not to eat? So can somebody drop in the chat iceberg? Iceberg live, hey, 305. Can somebody drop in the chat iceberg lettuce? That's the lettuce that we should not be eating. We're staying away from it for right now. I've been hearing that people are staying away from lettuce altogether. I see you, Mika. I see you, Aaron. I see you, Crystal. I see you, Dr. Henry. Are we staying away from lettuce altogether? I'm not eating no lettuce. I'm afraid. Not afraid, but afraid. Let me share this information with y'all, okay? These iceberg lettuce products were sold to Taco Bell in 5 states. Got a hamburger today with no lettuce and it felt wrong. I know, because you want that little extra crunch when you crunch into that lettuce and the tomato and the cheese and the onion. Damn. Listen to this, y'all, and then we're gonna wrap it up in a little bit because I see my guest is here. The products were sold at Taco Bell's in 5 states: Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia. Taco Bell has said that they are no longer using that lettuce. But do y'all know that we have an outbreak here in Florida? I think maybe like last week or so, it was over 600 cases that I heard that was brought to my dockets. Ms. Rem Patrice, I see you. She ready, I see you. It was about a couple hundred positive cases that was here in Florida. Mind you, you hear what they said the Taco Bell was sold. Can't even speak. Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia. We need to add Florida as a state number 6 with this outbreak from the iceberg lettuce. Dr. Henry, you right. Iceberg lettuce products were also distributed in 27 states and Walmart stores in 15 states. So if you eat Taco Bell, stop. And if you shop at Walmart, stop. As it relates to lettuce. You can't even eat healthy now. The back and forth. Iceberg lettuce products were sold by Walmart in 15 different states, and they were distributed. So 27 states overall. That's why Florida is in a frenzy right now. El Meek, I see you. The FDA is continuing to test the lettuce samples and says it is also testing produce at the southern border to check for Cyclospora, but so far none of this has turned up any positives. So why is it still rampant? Why the back and forth? The title of this article is They Retracted It. They retracted their positive test results. They're false positive. Y'all remember during COVID, there was a whole bunch of, false positive this, false positive that. Hey, boy. Iceberg lettuce at Taco Bell linked to Cyclospora outbreak in 5 states. Rem Patrice said they lied. They lied. The back and forth. Rem Patrice, before you came in here, I was telling the people them it's important to vote. And sometimes we don't understand why or the things that we are voting on. When you vote correctly, you have people in office who know what they're doing. You have people who are in office that are what? One of my stickers, subject matter experts. Look who is running the HHS. That's why there's so much back and forth with the FD. I'm repeating myself, but I just want to make sure we get... Y'all know I record all of these and I post them up on my YouTube. And sometimes I'll pull certain things to go back and teach to my real classes. The FDA and the CDC is going through a lot, especially with this administration that we are under. Somebody please drop in the chat. Rem Patrice, I see you with the voting. Voting is important. Ms. Halleck, I see you. We are discussing the trending topic in healthcare, the lettuce issue. And I'm telling them how voting is important. And people always go back and forth with, I don't know what I'm voting for. I don't care to vote. My vote doesn't count. Yes, it does. The FDA just retracted their false positive test results from the lettuce issue. And I'm telling my folks, if we were under the correct administration, we wouldn't be dealing with all this back and forth from the CDC. We wouldn't be dealing with all this back and forth from the HHS. Okay? Taylor Farm said in a statement that the FDA apologized. Why is the FDA apologizing? Emphasizing that the FDA has not identified a single positive product test result for Cyclospora. Did you guys hear what I just said? So why are there thousands of people sick? Me and Coach Yao were just fussing about the lettuce. Everybody's fussing about the lettuce issue. Halleck, before you came in here, I was telling folks that we're tired of the back and forth with the bills is due, tired of the back and forth with our health, and tired of the back and forth with our food. Rem Patrice in the chat said, please vote. It's important that we vote. We are in a muck. In some states, midterm elections are coming up. Please make sure we are going out there and exercising our right to vote. Can I have 2 people drop in the chat vote, please? Can I have 2 people drop in the chat vote? I don't want to talk about this no more because this is getting out of hand. I see you guys in the chat. Dr. T, we just wrapping up my trending topic in healthcare. I was going over the issue with the FDA retracting. I see you guys with the vote. The FDA is retracting their positive test results of the Cyclospora in the iceberg lettuce. Thank you for the repost. We are not eating iceberg lettuce for a while. We're not eating Taco Bell for a while. We're not buying lettuce or produce from Walmart for a while. I see you guys in the chat. Let me pull up my stuff before I pull up my guest. Hold on. Let me pull up my Miss Halleck. I see you. Dr. Henry, I see you liking it live. Let me pull up my guest. Wait, let me get my questions. Hold on. You know I did my homework. Okay, I'm ready for my guest. Mac the therapist, I see you. Welcome on in. Coach Jen, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, let me put in my headphones first. Hold on. Okay, we good. Everybody, can I have some thumbs up in the chat? Is the audio good? Thumbs up. Coach Jen, you can see me. You can hear me. Okay, perfect, man. I see you have to put your glasses on because you ready for this, right?
Yeah, I had to make sure I could focus.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, before we jump into everything you got going on, tell me what you think about this lettuce issue. It's a lot of back and forth. Why you think they're retracting now all of a sudden it's a false positive, but thousands of people are sick. Have you been eating lettuce?
No, but I almost ordered some lettuce today,
Okay.
and then my mom was like, "Did you forget? You're not supposed to be eating lettuce right now." And I was like,
Right,
"Oh, I guess I did."
right, right. Coach Jen, thank you so much for stepping into office hours with Dr. Johnson. I appreciate you. We connected a while ago. I can't remember how we connected, but we connected. And then Dr. T, who's here in the chat, she interviewed you and she told me, Dr. J, you need to connect with her. She'll be great for you. And I said, ma'am, I'm already connected with her. I can't tell you how, but we already connected. So I'm big on collaboration, I'm big on connecting. So thank you so much for taking the time to step over here and just share your subject matter expertise overall, because I'm big on subject matter expertise. Can I have two people drop in the chat subject matter expert, please? And y'all know when I'm dropping those stickers in the chat is never to show off or everybody is a subject matter expert in their own rights. Subject matter expertise is key. Subject matter expert is important. Please go out there and vote. Coach Jen, before we jump into it, can you briefly break down your educational and professional background before we get into the nitty-gritty? Whatever you don't feel like sharing, this is social media. We could use context clues, but your educational and professional background, then we're gonna get into your subject matter expertise, Miss Business Consultant.
Yes, so I have 23 years in the field of education. Clearly, I've been a teacher, I've been an assistant principal, I've been a principal, and I have made it to the second seat in the school district, so second in charge in the largest school district in the state of Connecticut. So my primary work is organization enhancement. So
Mm-hmm.
the more turmoil there is in an organization, the more of an adrenaline rush that I get. And I move in and I conduct a root cause analysis and then develop a strategic action plan to start getting outcomes that the organization is supposed to get. I've managed millions of dollars in federal and state compliance. Most times when I inherit a budget, the budget is not in compliance. And then using some of the frameworks that I use for organization turnaround, I'm able to get the budget back on track where it needs to be and get it back in compliance with either federal laws or state laws.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, Coach Jen, my background is in healthcare and higher education. So, we definitely gonna tap into the higher education, but I do have a lot of business self entrepreneurs here in my chat. So I want to kind of start off with that and the business consultant. Okay. So can you, share with us how you got into business consulting and, grants overall?
So I've always been an entrepreneur since I was 14 years old. I've been an entrepreneur at 14. I used to audit medical folders to find errors in the notes that the
Mm-hmm.
doctors, the nurses, or the counselors or therapists would utilize. And then I would have to give the individual that was over billing for the insurances a report about what needed to be fixed in those
Mm-hmm.
folders
Mm-hmm.
before they billed the insurance to prevent them from getting flagged, and then moving into an audit with the insurances. And I started doing that at 14 years old, and I would do it to get my nails done. Over the years, I've owned many businesses. Like I said, I had that one. I've done Mary Kay, I've done Avon, I've done body wraps. You know that one point we believed if we wrapped our body with saran wrap and some grease, then we could get skinny. So I've done that. I sold I sold body magics. I sold body magics. I own my own tutoring company, and I was the first person that had a mobile boutique. So I had a boutique that was started in the trunk of my car. And then I moved it online, and then it just got so big. I would do parties for women. They call all their girlfriends over, and I would bring the boutique to them, and they would drink and shop, etc. And then I ended up with a brick and mortar. Then I moved into passive income on Etsy, and in 3 months I had made five figures. So I made about $11,000 on Etsy in 3 months. And then in that next year, I made a full salary on Etsy. But I would always let them go. The higher I climbed in education, I would always let the business go. So I let the boutique go to become an assistant principal. And then I let the Etsy shop go once I became a principal. And then I stopped doing business owners taxes once I became the chief academic officer. I was laid off in January of 2025. I had relocated my family from Texas to Connecticut, about 1,700 miles away. Connecticut is a unionized state. Texas is not. And they ended up facing about a $45 million budget shortfall. And because I didn't have tenure, I was the first to go. So one of the first people to go. So that brought me back to Texas. And I can tell you that I was devastated. I was depressed. And I was really done working for somebody else at that particular point in time. And I told God that the entrepreneurship had to work. And he allowed me to trace my steps. And he allowed me to see that all along, he had been pointing me towards entrepreneurship, but I was the one that kept abandoning the vision to chase the illusion of paycheck security on a 9 to 5. So during my healing journey, I discovered Ecclesiastes 11:2, which says to invest in 7 ventures, maybe 8, because you don't know when disaster will strike. And then I kept reading, and I found Ecclesiastes 11:6, which says to work by day and not allow your hands to become idle at nighttime, for you do not know which one will prosper, whether this one will prosper or that one will prosper, or whether they will both be equally prosperous. And so at that particular point, I kind of made it my mission to help women understand that you can be in charge at work, you can be the wife, you can be the mother, and you can be the entrepreneur. And as a matter of fact, that's what God requires of each of us. Because he tells us that disaster is going to hit. Furloughs are going to hit. Layoffs are going to hit. We're going to go to war. This thing with the lettuce. All these things are going to transpire. And you don't know which one is going to see you through the disaster. Whether your business revenue will see you through it, or your paycheck will see you through it, or whether both of those things equally will carry you through this disaster. And then I started doing a lot of research about why businesses failed. So I took those same skills that I was using on my 9 to 5 to turn around failing organizations to identify, what was causing businesses to fail. And then that's when I developed something called the RISE framework, which is a framework that I utilize to get people's businesses moving in the right direction. And then that's when I started taking clients. And then I believe that God speaks in loops or
Mm-hmm.
patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I just started seeing all of these grants and these government contract opportunities posted everywhere. And I wasn't looking for a grant. I wasn't looking for a government contract, but I saw them posted everywhere. And so I started doing research into that. And I was like, this is what you've been doing your whole life. Like
Right.
for 23 years, you've been managing grant funds and
Right.
you've been managing state funds, which is typically where government contracts come from. So
Right.
you've been managing state funds and you've done it with no errors. As chief academic officer, I was the one that had to write RFPs. So when
Okay.
I wanted to buy a service or when I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to buy a product, I would be the one writing the RFP and getting the RFP posted and vetting the companies that would bid on my RFP. So then I decided I went to a workshop. I live in a rural community, and there's a HBCU about 20, 25 minutes from me. And we have a partnership because I did some work with them before when I was an entrepreneur, when I had an Etsy shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they invited me to come to this 9-week course on government contracting. And it was all of us sitting in a room, all of us as business owners sitting in a room, and there were basic things that people didn't understand, like business structure, like you got to have a DBA or LLC or be incorporated or have a C corp. You can't just say you want to have a business and then start calling it a business. There are things that you have to do to make this a valid business, and those were things that they didn't know. They didn't know that the same skills that you're using on that 9 to 5, those
Right.
skills can become a business that people will pay you for. So you can develop your own rate of pay. You can develop your own pay schedule in your business off those same skills that you're using on your 9 to 5. So I'm not telling you to quit your job, but I am telling you that those same skills you give away on your job for whatever rate they determine they want to pay you, you can take those same skills and you can turn them into a business. So then that's when I said I was going to start doing consulting because I had
Mm-hmm.
written grants. I've won grants. I've won about $14 million in competitive grants. And
Mm-hmm.
I've managed about $40 million in grants altogether. And so then I said I was going to start teaching grant writing, and I was going to start teaching people how to get ready for government contracts and how to pursue them. Because one of the reasons, people always say businesses fail because of funding, but they fail before the funding. They fail
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have the systems, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have the infrastructure in place to develop the funding or to handle the revenue that's coming in. And so
Right.
now I have clients in about, I think now I'm in 14 or 15 different states that I have clients in. I develop partnerships every day. I met with somebody who used to work for the federal government in the EAP
Mm-hmm.
department or division. And so now she and I are entering into a teaming agreement so that she and I can bid on disaster recovery opportunities
Mm.
together. So I'll handle the compliance side, the funding side, that kind of stuff, the technical writing side, the technical assistance side. And then in disaster recovery, she'll do exactly what she was doing when she was working for the EAP, which is moving into environments that have conditions, moving into
Right.
communities that have conditions going on with their environment and doing what she does. So, and I meet people every day. I believe in the power of networking. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if a business is not generating enough revenue, you're not doing enough networking
Mm.
and you're chasing the sale too much. You have to understand that when you network and you get referral partners, one referral partner can turn into 5, 10, 15 sales.
Right.
But if you just keep going after sales, one sale is one sale. That's all you're going to get off of that one sale. Maybe they refer you to somebody, maybe they don't refer you to somebody. So if you really want your revenue in your business to start moving, it's best for you to network and establish a referral network where you refer people. Like I could refer somebody to Mac who needed therapy. And if Mac knew another therapist who
Right.
was struggling to increase the census in her own counseling practice, then she could refer that to me and I can develop a strategic plan to help them increase the census in their business.
Right. Coach Jen, thank you so much for sharing that and breaking that down. You took over the interview, and I love that. I love how you went down your resume. I love how you provided a lived personal experience. So thank you so much for making that connection for the chat today. I want to bring it back a little bit, okay? I want to ask you. There's no right or wrong answer. Before we continue, thumbs up or praying hands. That's me shouting you guys out in the chat. I appreciate you guys for being here. I don't want to interrupt my guests. Thumbs up, praying hands. Okay, we know the drill. Coach Jen, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people may have about grants and government funding overall? No right or wrong answer. We want to hear from the subject matter expert.
So for grants, we come up with these grandiose ideas
Mm-hmm.
and then we start chasing any pot of money there is.
Okay.
Number one, you develop your program model by looking at your state's community development plan or consolidated plan. Because inside of that plan, they're going to tell you what their priorities are. And whatever your state's priorities are, whatever the priorities are in the United States of America, there's a politician pushing those priorities. That means, and whatever a politician is pushing, money's coming behind that because it has to get funded, right?
Right.
So after you've reviewed that and you reviewed your skill set, then you determine what your mission, your vision is going to be. Then you write your program model, which is like a recipe book. You write your program model, and then you go after funding opportunities that align with your program model. So instead of chasing every pot of money and getting discouraged every time you lose, you become more intentional, more strategic about the pots of money that you chase because your mission is the same as their mission. Your vision is similar to their vision, right? And your program is already what they believe in. So they're more likely to fund you. They're more likely to fund you. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see new grant writers writing is they don't have a program model. They're chasing any pot of money out there and they're trying to write a new program every time they apply for a grant. And you're never going to sound like an expert at that particular point.
Right.
And the bigger the grant is, the more likely you are to have to participate in an interview. And so if you can't present as the expert, you're not going to do well in the interviewing process. And then the other one that I would say is people believe they have to have this extravagant, this laundry list of experience as a business owner. The owner's experience lives on the owner's resume. So your business has experience. Your business was started with a track record, and that track record was your personal and professional resume. I just became a federal peer reviewer for grants over the weekend. So now I will sit on a panel for the Department of Justice. And girl, because I'm on a panel, this is serious business in here. That's
Okay, Miss Jazzy, she's getting interviewed right now. We in suit and tie right now. Please come on, get right. Come on, your sister dropping gems. Get right.
So Okay, I'm gonna help you in a little while. So, so now for the Department of Justice, I will actually review grants that come in to determine who gets it, who doesn't get it, and it's a panel of us that will do this. And one of the things that, well, text it to me if you on the clock. One of the things that we talked about was that people believing they don't have the skills to apply for the grant. And
Right.
they do have the skills to apply for the grant, right? Those skills live on their resume. And so your resume becomes what you speak to in that qualification section when you're applying for that grant. Then maybe you're saying, well, I don't have it on my resume either. Well, guess what? Somebody somewhere has already done a study on that. Somebody somewhere has done a study on the very thing your program is designed to do.
Right.
And somebody it has gotten results when they did that study, when they did that research. You write that research into your grant. And instead of guaranteeing what the results are going to be because you've gotten those results, you say we expect the results to be whatever. And then you explain why you expect that. You know, it was a similar community in another state that did the same thing and they got these results. So those are two things in the grant world. The biggest misconception on the government contracting side is just use a subcontractor. Just use a subcontractor. You don't got to do it. Just apply. If they give it to you, you could just get a subcontractor. Well, think about this. Think about all those people that were awarded federal contracts. Then the federal government shut down and everybody was furloughed. And in a furlough, nobody gets paid. So if the employees aren't getting paid, do you think the government contractors are getting paid? No. But your subcontractors are still doing the work.
Hello.
And because your subcontractors are still doing the work, you have to still pay them. So the federal government's not paying you, but you still have to pay your subcontractors. So where is that money going to come from? That money has to come from your business's bank account or your own personal bank account. So now what I tell people is, I know that you can give them a discount. I know you can give them a discount, but even when you give them a discount, they have to accept your discount, right? So they have, even though they say, you know, we'll pay you within 10 days if you give us a 2% discount, they have to be willing to accept your discount. If that PO is cut, if the purchase order is cut on a net 30, I always tell people multiply it by 2 and don't expect to get paid until 2 months down the line. If it's cut on a net 60, multiply it by 2 and don't expect to get paid until 4 months down the line. If you happen to get paid before then, great, but you weren't expecting it. Your business was in position to cover it until the checks from your invoices started clearing the bank. You're gonna be graded. Everybody is graded. At the state level, you're graded A, B, C, D, F. At the federal level, you're graded based on the work that you do. If you start getting C's, D's, and F's, if you get an F, you'll never get another contract. If you get a D, it's almost you'll never get another contract, right? And if you get a C, you're a risk to the purchasing team. They're taking a chance that maybe you won't deliver on time or do what you said you would do. And if that's not a chance that they're willing to take, then they're not going to give it to you either. So if your business is in a position to go after a government contract, right? Then your position, your business should be in position to hire somebody to help you with technical assistance on that first contract, because government entity, they're not going to give you any technical assistance. You said you could do this, we expect you to do it.
Right.
But
Right.
you're gonna need somebody that you can go to at least for the first few months on your first government contract. So the biggest myth out there, well, it's not really a myth. You can subcontract, but it's a very dangerous territory to be in if your bank balance doesn't have the room to cover you subcontracting. So I just ran my first payroll on my contract last Friday. I haven't gotten paid from my city for my services yet. So I had to cover that. I had to front that payroll. And to date, I still haven't gotten paid. And I have to pay out again next Friday. So who's going to be covering that payroll next Friday? I am.
You. Coach Jen, thank you for breaking that down. I see you. I hear you. For those of you just joining on in, today we are interviewing Coach Jen, the business consultant, subject matter expert. Okay. Coach Jen, I want you to speak to the small business owners here in the chat. Okay. We're all entrepreneurs in our own way. Okay. How can small businesses position themselves to compete for these government contracts? What would you say?
So don't be greedy. Number
Okay.
one.
Okay.
The first thing I want you to do is I want you to sit down and I want you to calculate your time capacity. And I wish I had, oh, I do have it.
And
I
I
want
hope
you
y'all
to
ta-
sit
I hope you
down
guys
and
are
I
taking
want you to
notes.
calculate your time capacity. I'm gonna see if I can show it to you without showing you my revenue. But I want you to calculate your time capacity, right? How much time do you have to devote to fulfilling a government contract, right? So we'll just say that so this is my time capacity audit, because I just did it, because I intend to submit some more bids. Submit some more bids this week, right? So this is my audit. You can see it's
Okay.
got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday going across the top, right?
They
Then
said
down at the bottom
you
is
bringing out notes. You getting us excited. The student in me is getting excited. I love this information. I love real news. I love real facts. Can I have two people drop subject matter expert stickers in the chat, please? Do y'all see why she's up here? Her divine alchemy. I see you, real estate diva. I see you. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you just got me excited. What you bring it back to the people. Then let me see what you showing us.
so it has all the days of the week up here, right? And then it's
Okay.
got like all my projects on here, and there's some more on the
Right.
back. But it's got
Right.
my projects on here. It has how much time I owe each project, right? So it's got my one-on-one clients on here, and they meet with me 3 hours a month. Each person meets with me 3 hours a month. But they also are entitled to an hour of services outside of their meeting. So if they want me to review something, prove something outside of the meeting. So really, each client carries about 4.5 hours of time per month, right? So they're on here, how much time they are, right? So then I take all of that time, and I know people are like, okay, we got 160 hours in a month. I'm a mother of an 8-year-old. I don't have 160 hours in a month. He is a little boy with ADHD, so he's liable to jump off of something at any given moment in time, and I might be in urgent care, or he could be sick. So, I give him his own 40 hours every month. So that immediately decreased my capacity to about 120 hours a month in my business. And then I just started subtracting everything from that 120. My coaching clients, my clients that I do strategic meetings with every month, my clients who are on retainers, and then big projects that I'm working on, such as this government project or technical writing project. I started subtracting that. Whatever I have left over, that's how much time I have to devote to a government contract. So that's number one. Calculate your time capacity, because sometimes we author our own chaos. Sometimes we author our own burnout. We walk around saying, "Oh, I'm burnt out," like it's cute, but you caused the burnout because you were functioning outside of your capacity. Number one, calculate your time capacity. How much time do you have to devote to a government contract? Number two, calculate your financial capacity. How much can you hold? How many hours can you give to this? And how much funding can you give to this? Because anything out there, because most therapists end up doing something community based, whether that's in the grant world or that's in the government contracting world. Well, if you're doing community based, outreach is always included in that, right? Because how are they going to find out this community program exists if you don't do outreach, right?
Right.
So now you got to fund the outreach. You need the tablecloths. You need whatever you're going to give away at the tablecloths. And does your business have the money to front this government contract as far as payroll and supplies? If you need to build a website or a portal, can you front that money? Because the government is going to reimburse you. So those are the first two things. Calculate your time capacity and your financial capacity. If those things clear, then the next thing you do is get super specific about what you want to be the subject matter expert in. That's whatever that is, it aligns with codes. And we call those codes NACCE's codes. So you can see on my time capacity audit, these are my codes, but you can see one of these rows is grayed in because that's the lane that I want to be the subject matter expert in, right?
Right.
When I get more time, I'll pursue opportunities in those other roles, but that's going to be my primary one, right? And then go get registered. Yes, NACCE's codes. Go get registered with your state, not the federal government. Don't start there. Go get registered with your state as a vendor to do business with your state and start allowing them to email you those procurement opportunities. Because once you get registered, they're going to send you the opportunities and you'll be able to run those opportunities against your time capacity, your financial capacity, and whatever lane you chose to be a subject matter expert in to determine should you bid or should you not bid, right?
Right.
Then when time permits, most places it's free. In Texas it's not, but in most places it's free. Go and get your small business certification. So if you're a veteran, you can get a certification. Your small business can be a certified veteran-owned small business. If you're a woman-owned, you can get the woman-owned small business certification. If it's a minority small business, you can get the MBE, which is the Minority Business Enterprise. You can get the SBE, the Small Business Enterprise certification. You can get a DBE, which is a Disability Business Enterprise certification, meaning the owner of the business is disabled, right? And then get out there and network. There is power in numbers.
Right.
And you can immediately increase your capacity to bid if, 2, 3, or 4 of you are going to go in on the opportunity together. You may not be able to make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on the opportunity, but if 4 of you get started together, now all 4 of you can say you've done government contracting, and you'll be able to go after other opportunities together.
hmm Coach Jen, thank you so much once again. I just had to keep thanking you for dropping these gems and being a subject matter expert because a lot of people would gatekeep this information. So before we continue, thank you so much for sharing this information. Networking is key. Collaborating is key. I don't know if Coach Jen is still here, but when I scout out my interviewed guests, I always think about my community and who can connect with my interviewed guests. So when I was scouting you out, when I had you in mind, I was thinking about Coach Jen. I was thinking about her divine alchemy. I was thinking about something you could use. So I hope you guys are receiving these gems, connecting with her. Make sure you guys connect with her. Connect with any guest I have up on here after my interviews. But just know that when I pick my guests, it's not just to pick them to just, y'all know, I don't have to go through it. I'm not just doing it just to do it. It's the connection. I'm thinking about who can connect, who can receive something, who can connect with this information that this subject matter expert has to share. So her divine alchemy, something you could use, and Coach Rhonda. I had you three in mind when I was scouting out Coach Jen. I want to switch gears because we're gonna switch gears in here, okay, Coach Jen. So you just brought up different groups of people. Okay, representation is important. Okay, why is representation important in business, leadership, and grant funding overall? Why do we see why? Because we see one of you, we see somebody who looks and sound like us doing what we want to do or doing what we need. So we see why, but can you break it down from your perspective? Why is representation in business, leadership, and government contracting or government funding important?
Number one, it shows the youth that are coming up now that it is
Mm-hmm.
possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you can go and make a good living for yourself without being, and there's nothing wrong with being a sports player, right? But
Right.
without becoming an NBA player, NFL player, Major League Baseball player, whatever, right? So first of all, you show the youth that are coming up now that that is possible. And second of all, this is how community revitalization happens. You know, the Vietnamese community doesn't just trust anybody coming into their community trying to assist them. They want to accept assistance from just anybody. They want to accept assistance from people who are Vietnamese. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing for Hispanic, same thing for African American cultures, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is how community revitalization happens. When you start coming up and then you start investing in the community, then the community comes back to life. That this is how, children don't have to be raised in food deserts. Because if we have a chef that can get a grant to start a grocery store, and it starts small in just a local corner store, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
it eventually grows into something like an HEB, right?
Okay.
Now that community is not a food desert anymore. It's got a local grocery store in it. The same thing with banks, right? So you get your credit together and you're able to go out and you're able to get enough funding that you can start lending money to other people. It was just a government contract about this maybe 2 months ago, and they were looking for people to lend money to people who were getting out of prison.
Mm.
So you're going to give them money as they come home so
Mm-hmm.
they can get back on their feet and they don't
Right.
end up being homeless, right? It was a part
Right.
of a community reentry program. But
Mm-hmm.
this is how community revitalization happens. And if we keep playing small, there's somebody who can't get their breakthrough and start until you start walking in obedience with what it is that God is telling you, what God is telling you to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so to me, it's important because community revitalization can't happen if there's not equal representation, because we're not going to accept assistance from everybody or just anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing that. I see you guys in the chat. Hold on, let me. The chat was moving. I wasn't able to acknowledge Almas. I see you. Thank you so much for being here. Real estate investing diva. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna see you soon. Yolanda, I see you. And I also want to saw. I saw something. Crystal. She says she's listening hard. I said that one time in one of my chats. I can't believe you remembered that. But you listening hard. We all listening hard, and I hope you guys are all taking notes. Coach Jen, minorities. Okay, a lot of us are business owners. Okay. What advice would you give us minorities who want to break into the competitive space of government contracting? Because we hear about others who say, okay, I applied for this grant, I didn't hear back. I applied for this grant, I got denied. Or I know somebody who applied for this grant, okay, they got a little 3,500 or 5,000. Okay, well, I get that too. What would you say? What recommendation, what advice would you give to small minority business owners that want to break into a competitive space of government contracting?
So number one, you have to learn how to dream big, right? And I
Hmm.
talked about this in one of my AM live streams last week, that we don't pray bold prayers. We pray timid prayers.
Okay.
Like, we pray for those things that, we pray for just enough. But God can do exceedingly above all
Okay.
things that we could ever imagine or ask for, right? So
Okay.
why are you asking him to give you enough money to go to the grocery store to buy a loaf of bread, some cheese, and some meat? Why don't you ask him for what it is that you really desire? Align your
Lobster
desires with
tails.
his will and go in there and ask him for what you
Right.
want. Do you want the cow in your backyard so that you can produce your own milk? Do you want a garden in your backyard so that when a lettuce outbreak happens next time, you could just go in your backyard and you could get your romaine from your own backyard, and you don't have to worry about what's in the grocery store, whether the people telling us the truth or lying to us, because you got your own, right? And
Right.
because it's a community garden, you're not the only person eating fresh produce, untainted produce. Your whole
Okay.
community is eating untainted produce because it is
Right.
community garden that you started. So number one, you have to think big. And I'm sure some people were offended today on my live stream because I was telling them we have to stop using AI to make animated versions of ourselves. Because
Okay.
if you look around, other cultures are not sitting up using AI to make animated versions of themselves. That's us doing that. And when we do
Mm.
that, it shows what our mentality is. The government contract that I talk about on my live stream today, because I've been doing an opportunity of the day, it was for curriculum writing. They
Hmm.
wanted videos and they wanted like resources to go with the videos. And of course, they wanted a trainer too. But I told them, I said, you see this video? This video can be made with AI. This video is a digital product. So
Hmm.
stop just thinking journals and stop just thinking, these little bitty workbooks, and
Hmm.
start thinking big. Stop thinking about the $27 product and start thinking about the $2,700
Hello.
product that
Hello.
solves a real painful problem. And how do you know it's a real painful problem? Because it's written into your state's community development plan. Go in
Hello.
that plan, find something that you can use AI to create something for. It's called diabetic it's diabetes self-management, right? That's
Hmm.
huge right now. They're posting contracts everywhere, grant opportunities everywhere, to be able to teach people how to self-manage the diabetes, like manage it at home without all of these high dollar medications or whatever. That's a digital product right there. Go make the videos, go make the workbooks, go make the recipe cards to teach people how to manage the diabetes at home. And
Like that.
then the next thing that I would say is that if you bid and you lose, ask for a debriefing. That's what it's called. If you bid and you lose, ask
Debriefing.
for a debriefing, because in that debriefing, they're going to tell you what disqualified you. and some are just about price. So you
Okay.
get outbid you get outbid just on price. And that will happen to you if you're not doing market research before you start. You're not doing market research, you're not doing research on industry averages, and you're trying to pay this month's mortgage and the whole year's mortgage off this one opportunity. And this other person was just trying to get their foot in the door. So they bid at the beginning of the market industry. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I would say, think bigger. Think bigger. Well, one of the things I said was if I can fill out job applications, I can write government proposals. Because when I fill out a job application, before they interview me, the new thing is to ask people to do these in-basket activities, do all these activities, submit this PowerPoint presentation, all this crazy stuff, right?
And
So
case
if I
study.
can do that to get a job, then I can write this government proposal. And just like this company can tell me no to the job, all this government entity can do is tell me no. But if I plant enough seeds in the kingdom, harvest time always follows seed time. And if
Okay.
I just be the farmer that I'm supposed to be and plant the seeds where he tells me to plant them, then at an appointed time, I'm going to reap a harvest.
Amen. Okay. I didn't know we was gonna go to church and business school today, but thank you so much for taking us to both. We are currently at Harvard Business School, and we're also simultaneously at First Baptist Antioch Church. Hello? Can I get an amen? I did not know we was going to Harvard Business School and First Baptist Church. Coach Jen, thank you so much for taking us through there. Couple more things before we wrap up, okay? I have some business owners in the chat, okay? What would you say, or I have some people who have some business ideas in the chat as well too, okay? What advice would you give somebody who wants to turn their side hustle into a business where they can generate income?
So, and it's probably in this notebook somewhere, but I believe in something called I developed something that's called the PED framework, PED. Maybe they can
Okay.
blow your chat up with that. It's called the PED framework, PED. And basically what the PED framework is, when passion, experience, and demand overlap.
Say that again.
So at
Say
the
it,
overlap of all three,
say it again. Say it again.
passion, experience, and demand, it's where they overlap. I told you, because I've done this on my live stream so many times, it's unreal. So this is the PED diagram. So we got passion, we have experience, and we have demand. Where all three overlap, that's a viable business. Why?
Right.
Because you can be passionate about something, have experience in something, but there's no demand for it, right? So nobody cares about how much you love it. Nobody cares that you're an expert in it. If the market rejects it, you'll never make a single sale. But if you have passion and you have demand, but you have no experience, now you feel like you have to go get a certification or a degree or another training in order to launch the business. And then if you have experience and you have demand, but you have no passion, you're going to burn out. As soon as the road gets rough, you're going to throw in the towel and you're going to walk away. As soon as the business starts sloping downward, you're going to walk away because you weren't passionate about it anyway. You didn't like it anyway. You were doing it because somebody told you could make a lot of money if you did it. That was the only reason that you were doing it anyway. So I always tell people these 9 times out of 10, they're given. They're given. The passion and the experience, typically those are given. But where I noticed that minority business owners fall off, that our counterparts don't fall off on, is in demand. They take the time to go and do market research about is there really a demand for what it is that I'm trying to do. They use Reddit. Some of those people that are asking questions on Reddit, those people don't really have that question. Those people are doing market research to see how many people will respond to their question. The more people they get to respond to their question, the more demand it is for the business. So then they know if they launch, they're going to make some money about it. I say that if the government ain't talking about it, if you can't find a single politician talking about it, nine times out of 10, you're going to have a hard time finding a grant, or you're going to have a hard time finding a government contract to feed it at a large scale, if that makes sense. So if you want to move from hobby, from it just being a hobby, being okay if it sells every once in a while, to it selling consistently, you got to go do research. You have to go determine if there's a demand for it. And I'm not a real estate agent, but I always use real estate, because I can remember when we were trying to buy our first house. And before we found a house, we wanted to make an offer on. But before we made the offer, our real estate agent went and did research about how much homes in the area were selling for. So we would know if we were offering too much, or if we were offering not enough, right? So she used research to give us an indication about whether or not, thank you for that, Crystal, about whether or not our offer would be accepted, right? So go and do your research is what I'm telling you. The worst time to start a business or start trying to scale a business is when you need the money. The best time to start a business or scale a business is when you have the financial capacity to hold the business up and two is fully formed.
Right. Coach Jen, thank you so much for sharing that. So you briefly went over that big job title, Chief Academic Officer. Okay. So I just want to briefly touch on that. But how did your experience as a Chief Academic Officer prepare you, or what lessons did you pull, or what information or experience did you pull that you are able to now transfer over into your consulting and your leadership and your mentorship work? Coach Jen, I see you. Coach Rhonda, I see you.
Man, that's a whole day. That's a whole day workshop. But
okay, well, briefly touch on it for us. Briefly.
One of them is emotional intelligence.
Okay.
The higher you climb, the higher your emotional IQ has to be, right? Because people gonna tell you no all day. People gonna make you try to feel bad about what you're doing all day. People gonna try to make you change your mind so that their agenda can be met all day long, every day. So the emotional intelligence really has to be there. The big one for me that really wasn't in existence, but now that I have it, I would never give it up, is work-life balance.
Okay.
When work starts to take over, it's time to pause so that you can rebalance, kind of like balancing the tires on your car, right? And then the other thing that it really taught me was just how, since I want to coach adults or consult with adults, I learned a lot about the adult learning theory. Okay. And that's why a lot of master classes fail. That's why a lot of webinars fail, because they don't understand the way that adults learn. And there is a science behind how adults learn and how you move from learning something to actually implementing it. So that's why I get so many clients to actually implement, because of the process that I use in my consultation and my coaching appointments. And then the other thing that I learned is that where you think there's nobody out there doing it, we're out there doing it. I can't tell
Right.
you the number of minority business owners
Right.
that would approach me and they would just want an opportunity to show the district what they could do,
Right.
right? Show the district what they could do. And I got to be the person to give them that. But then I also got to be the person to tell them, hey, I need you to tighten up right here. Like this is, it's too loosey goosey right here. And let me tell you what the impact of you not being tight right here is on your opportunity to continue servicing the district. So I mean, it learned a lot. Even though I got laid off, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, because it made me see what's really possible. It opened my eyes to a whole new world. Connecticut is a small state. So you get to rub elbows with politicians real easy. In a minute, you'll be sitting across from the governor or the deputy governor or somebody like that, and you don't even realize it until they introduce themselves. But people will listen to us. It is the way that we communicate what we need, right?
Right.
So, and what we desire and what we're trying to do. But yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, I have the last two questions for you. I asked all of my guests this question, but before I let you answer those two questions, one of my friends is asking, can you drop your website? So they want to be able to. Do you have? Is your website in your bio? Are we allowed to say that
No,
here? It's not.
no. That a training that I was doing is in the bio. I still have to take it down. We
Okay.
did the last session last week. But I just
Okay.
dropped it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Coach Jen, I think you have me beat with all the jobs. My friends on here are always joking about me, like a true Jamaican. I got all these jobs here and there, but I think I met my match. You got me beat with these jobs, okay? You got me beat with these jobs. With that being said, what does Coach Jen do to stay on top of her mental health? You guys know I ask all of my interview guests this question. What does Coach Jen do to ensure that her mental is A1?
So I've gone back to walking.
Mm-hmm.
And people ask me every day how far it is. I don't know how far it is. I know it's seven laps around. So
Okay.
I typically would do 7 laps around. If I don't walk, I love swimming.
Mm,
Love swim. And I thought I had forgot how to swim.
okay.
But it's something about being under the water, because I swim under the water, not on top of it. But it's just something about being under the water. Like it's so serene. I really love swimming. And then I like reading and I like journaling.
Mm-hmm.
So and I like a balance. I don't like all, educational books. I like other books too,
Mm-hmm.
just, fun reading. But these are all things that I've learned I can do without spending a dime.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really begun to enjoy them so that I can stretch my money in other directions
Right.
to create more opportunities for my business and for my son. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Last question. Once again, you got me beat with all these jobs, but what is Coach Jen's overall why? Why do you continue to show up? Why do you continue to be a subject matter expert in the area of government contracting, in the area of business consulting?
Because that the layoffs took a lot of people out, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made me realize that maybe we were too dependent on something that wasn't as secure as we've been trained to think that it is. And so if you, it's bookmcg.com. So like
Thank you.
read a book, and then M as in Mary, C as in cat, G as in go, .com. Right. And I didn't ever want to be solely dependent on a paycheck again. But I also wanted something that I could leave my son. It's his to do what he wants it to do. There were a million names I could have given it, but that's why I gave it the Murchison Consulting Group.com, because it'll be his to do what he wants to do. So I'm paving the way into the government territory. And as long as, he goes out and he gets the degree or trade certification, whatever he wants, his heart desires to do, he'll be able to come in. I'll be able to move him in and move him into position. And then he'll be able to do that for his children if that's what he wants to do. But it's more so about being able to leave him something that he will always be able to feel his mother in. When he engages with that, while I might not be on earth anymore, he'll be able to feel my presence in that, because he'll know my mama started this, and she started this for me.
Right. Coach Jen, once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for dropping these gems. This was amazing. This was definitely what I wanted. All of my guests are definitely what I wanted, but I truly appreciate you just sharing your information, sharing your experience, and sharing your lived knowledge overall. We're definitely going to keep in touch, Coach Jen. Can I have some round of applause in the chat before I drop her down?
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you all. Dr. Johnson, thank you for the opportunity to share with everybody. If you think you're ready, then you can send me the word bid. I'll send you my calendar, and we'll get online to see if you are ready, and how much you should bid on. Now, I ain't gonna teach you how to bid, because this call is free, but I am going to tell you whether or not you're ready or what you need to do to go get ready.
Nice. I love that. Coach Jen, once again, continue to show up, ma'am, and continue to be great. Let me drop you down, okay?
Okay. Good night, everybody.
All right, now. I hope y'all were taking notes. Moderators, can we tap in real quick? I hope y'all were taking notes. That was Coach Jen, the business consultant, subject matter expertise. Coach Aranda, I see you. Coach Aranda, I hope you connect with Coach Jen. Her Divine Alchemy, I hope you connect with Coach Jen. Something you could use, I hope you connect with Coach Jen. I had you three in mind. We got to wrap it up. It's almost 8:30, and you know what that means. If you know me, you know what that means. So I'm going to breeze through these. For the new folks here, segment 1, Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. I do a trending topic in healthcare. Segment 2 is my interviewed guests. And then I wrap it up with my professor tips. Lately, my professor tips have been jobs. Okay, so Coach Jen was talking about something, we don't have to work for the man no more. We could be entrepreneurs. However, some of us still may need a little bit of job, So that's what I'm going to do today. My moderator, Elle, did we pin that one? Oh, let me. Professor tip number 1 that I want to share with you guys is Thrive. Now, you guys know my professor tips. Some are healthcare, some are higher education, some are customer service. I always try to bring a variety. Okay. The first one that I want to share with you is Thrive Scholars. The position is a program manager for their scholar learning experience. This salary is starting 73,000 to 80,000. Okay. Let me briefly tell you what you're going to be doing in this role. The position as the program manager will be an experienced project manager who can coordinate and manage processes with impactful scholar learning experiences as their North Star. Successful candidates for this role are passionate about developing scalable, efficient procedures, okay, and have experience doing so for programs that cater to supporting talented students who are first generation college students. So look at that. This is a meaningful job. Okay. Candidates with experience in education administration are preferred but not required. Okay. So that was my first one, program manager for the company called Thrive Scholar, 73 to 80K starting salary. We're going to get to it. Can we get to professor tip number 2? We could pin professor tip number 2. Which one do we want to go to next? Professor tip number 2. No problem, Coach Ronda. I see you. Her Divine Alchemy. I'm fixing to go eat real soon. Professor tip number 2. Which one my moderator want to do? Let me pull it up. City of Hope. I think that one. The first one was a fully remote position. City of Hope, once again, is another fully remote position. Coach Jen, I see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. City of Hope is looking for a data analyst, a healthcare data analyst. Okay. The salary is $40 an hour to $63 an hour. Now, 40K. I said $40 an hour to $63 an hour. Okay. The company is City of Hope. Let me briefly go through this job because my chat want me to go eat. City of Hope is seeking a talented and data-driven quality data analyst to support quality, risk, and regulatory management. Coach Jen, I appreciate you. In this high-impact role, you'll transform complex healthcare data into meaningful insights that help improve patient care, operational performance, and quality outcomes across the organization. Once again, City of Hope. It's a healthcare data analyst. It is $40 to $63 an hour. And professor tip number 3, we're going to wrap it up, is Spring Health. Spring Health. Professor tip number 3 is Spring Health. We can go ahead and pin that so my folks can know where to go apply to. At Spring Health, the position is a payer customer success associates. A payer customer success associate. Let me pull up the brief description of the role. Hold on, somebody's screaming in the background. Eliza came through the front door. They so funny. Spring Health, payer customer success associate. For this role, what you would do, you are reporting to the senior manager, the senior manager for customer success. You play a pivotal role in ensuring the successful and satisfaction of valued health plan customers, collaborating with the head of payer customer success as well and the designated payer customer success manager. You'll provide vital support to deliver exceptional service and uphold customer KPIs. This is a full-time, fully remote position on our team. Occasional travel from events may be required. They just want you to have 2 years of customer facing experience. 2 years, just 2 years of customer facing experience. That 2 years could be in any of customer service experience, could be in anything. Okay. It don't gotta be in healthcare. It says preferably in healthcare, but it does not have to be. Okay. And this salary is $31.97 an hour to $36.30 an hour. Okay. So just to round it up, healthcare data analyst at City of Hope, fully remote. Program manager for the Scholar Learning Experience at Thrive Scholars. And number 3 is payer customer success associate at Spring Health. I'm done, though. I'm done, so I hope y'all can hear me. Let me play. Tired, done. I appreciate all of y'all. I'm about to go eat. Can I get some deuces in the chat? I gotta go eat. I appreciate you guys. Here we go, the doctor in the place. Hear the rhythm when the doctor come through. Carry and roots and they know what to do. Professor the building educator true. Black health is a vision and the shout out to Her Divine Alchemy who made me this song. I told you I have them in rotation. Coming for you, Dr. Johnson. Raise it up, raise it up. Knowledge in his hands and he ain't giving up. The doctor is here, let the rhythm come through. The people are calling and they coming for you. From the others to the class to the ladies way. I appreciate y'all tonight.